We're going to talk a little bit about the big shift, and I'm excited because I've been listening, and I think there's definitely validation that there's a shift coming. Digital's been the darling for the last 20 years. Everyone's been trying to figure out how to get into digital. And I'm very fortunate to work in a role that gets to see global. So I work very closely with our team here in India, India being a very important market to us. I know where's our team at? Raise your hand, team. So we got the CNN team based in Delhi and Mumbai. But so I get to see a global perspective. So some of these numbers and some of these things are not particularly for your market, they're more from a global perspective. Based in London, I get to see all of this. I haven't done this in the US, even though I sound like I am from there, but this is really looking at what all of our offices are experiencing. I think for the first time, we're starting to see digital be questioned a little bit more than normal. I think we've all taken this charge to be digital leaders and digital experts, and we're seeing people kind of pull the brakes back and go, wait a minute, what is this doing and how is this working? It's still going to be a great future for digital, not changing, but we have to think a little bit differently, and this shift is happening. So in a natural progression, instead of talking about digital, I'd rather talk about coffee. Everyone here hopefully likes coffee. The world of coffee has changed quite a bit. Since the 1930s, in fact, we drink less coffee now than we did in the 30s. And I know that seems kind of weird because there's more coffee shops on every corner in every country that I've been to. There's coffee shops everywhere. So to think, why are we drinking less? There's more choice. So with more choice, you would think we would drink more, right? And you hear people go to the coffee shop and order a schizo, frappe, cappe, latte with wings, right? There's all sorts of crazy orders. They mess my name up every time. I can imagine with some of your names, they really get it messed up if you go to any other markets. It's like, you know, trying to get the names right. But back in the 30s, you used to make coffee on your stovetop in a black coffee, and you just warm it up, and you'd have 6, 7 cups a day, right? This is a little bit skewed because I think I've had 6 to 7 cups a day while I'm at this conference. So I've been in the men's room more than anything. But now we drink more expensive coffee, and it's more of an experience. You have trained baristas, right? My grandmother was not trained at the stovetop. She would just make black coffee, warm it up, and serve it out. Trained baristas who go to school to learn how to make your coffee. So it's a whole other world. In fact, there's a company called Dutch Brothers I'm from Arizona in the US, so I'm one of the 30 million people in the world that can tell you it's not that hot here. Don't worry, even though it is hot here, I know. Arizona is roughly 40 to 50s as well, just no humidity, which is a little bit nicer. But Dutch Brothers is a brand that's kind of coming up in the West Coast of the US, and it's all about experience, and they're taking a chunk out of Starbucks' market share. And how are they doing it? We talk about experience. Everyone's here talked about experience. Brand experience matters. Experience. What does that really mean? How do we create experience? There's a key word in there. It's unique experience. Now everyone's creating experience. All the marketers in this room are all going home trying to figure out how to make experience. So if we all go create experience, how do we differentiate our experience from someone else's? This was a totally unique experience for me. I drove up as Americans, we have big trucks. I drove up in a big truck, and I had my daughter in the back seat, and my son in the front seat, and my daughter's friend in the back seat, and I'm driving. I've never been to Dutch Brothers before, and I pull up, and you know, we order our coffee. I don't even know what we ordered. It was crazy. And the girl goes, this is my best American accent. She goes, oh my God, how are you guys? How is everyone? I'm like, great. Just here to get coffee. She goes, what have you guys been doing today? I go, oh, we've been shopping. Oh my God, you guys have been shopping? What have you been shopping for? And then my daughter rolls the window down in the back seat. She goes, I got this shirt. And the girl's like, that is such a cute shirt. And we sat there literally and talked for 10 minutes about shopping and this shirt, right? Of course, there was a queue about 50 cars long to get coffee. But it was about experience. It was about that barista connecting with my kids. My kids were the reason I was there is because they said, we have to go to Dutch Brothers. They didn't want to go to Starbucks. They wanted to go to Dutch Brothers because they wanted to talk to that person who said, how was your day and what did you buy? So as marketers, that's an important piece. We'll talk about airlines a little bit later. Your hostess, your air crew is more important to marketing than the marketing team, right? And that last comment about you're never in business, no business is good without repeat customers. So price is not a place to be. I don't even know how much we paid for this coffee. I'm sure it was ridiculous, but nobody cares. My daughter still, when we go back to Arizona, it's like first thing they want to do is go back to Dutch Brothers for that experience. That's how you take a chunk out of Starbucks money. Anyone read the book Freakonomics? Great book, right? Don't name your kids weird names, I guess that's the correlation says. Or put books in your house, and then your kids will be smarter. I don't think it works that way, but that's what they say. But they put out that thing with jam, and if you remember the story about jam, where you said, we have 6 flavors of jam, and then we're gonna give you a voucher to buy some. And so they went out, you go and you taste your jam, and then you go buy some. Then they expanded that to 24 flavors of jam to try, and then you can go buy some. They sold less jam, less vouchers were used when they made it 24 choices. Because too many people came up and said, I just don't know which one I like, but they're all good. And then they left, right? No choice is unbearable. If you have no choice, it drives you bonkers. You need choice. Some choice is liberating, but too much choice is frustrating. Right? Tesco is a grocery store in the UK. They had 90,000 products on their shelves, and they're trying to reduce it to 30,000. They had 224 types of air freshener. 224 types. Could you imagine walking up there? So what do you do there? You lead with price. You go, I'll just take the cheap one. Or but now people are shifting, and I'll take the one that's ozone friendly or whatever, right? So their goal is to get that down to 12. Aldi, I think, has 12 air fresheners. Tesco has 224. I still think 12 is 11 too many. But we need to think about choice that we offer consumers. You go to like In-N-Out Burger in America, you get a 1, 2, or a 3, that's it. And they're a very successful burger chain. But it's not about the shelf space anymore, so you FMCG people will agree. In the old days, it was about having your spot on that shelf at eye level at the end. That was the most important thing. Your grocery store was your key to sales. Brand mattered, but the location and the spot mattered more. That's not true anymore. It's not about the shelf space. It's not about having brick and mortar, right? We're going to talk about mattresses, but it doesn't matter that you have a store in the great spot. You can still have a store, and there are cases to have brick and mortar. I'm not saying move everything to digital, but brick and mortar is not the only thing. Being a taxi cab on the corner it doesn't matter anymore. In most parts of the world, including India, taxis don't matter. You could be standing on the corner with a cab, standing there going, I'm ready to drive you, and I won't take that cab. I'll wait, and I'll press my button, and someone will show up, even though there's a cab right there. Why? Because I possibly might get a bottle of water. I can pay on my credit card, and I don't have to worry about translation of directions. I could just punch it into an app, and he takes me there, right? If you're drunk, you can pass out in the back seat, and you still make it to your house. It's nice. But that's experience. We talk about airlines. Disruption's imminent in airlines. I don't want to talk about disruption to airlines in India more than any country in the world. India is experiencing disruption in airlines. It's a problem. You lead with price, people leave you when you raise your price. That's it. There's no experience. We do a lot of work with some airlines, and it's the second you get on that airplane is the second your holiday starts. You want that experience. Or do you want to do a comparison site, and then when your holiday starts, when you land, right? I prefer the latter. If it's a little bit more money, right? I'd rather get on a plane, go to Japan, and have a Japanese experience, and have sushi and wasabi, and really like get in the mindset of my holiday as opposed to just flying. I think I flew Air Austria once to Japan. That was weird. I felt the culture was a little different, but it was a great flight anyway. But disruption is imminent. Now there's an app that you can actually, if it's not a lot of uptake yet, but I can put in that I'm in the bulkhead in an airline, and another passenger might see that and might be able to app me and go, bing, I'll give you $20 for your bulkhead. And I can say, all right, cool. Disruption happens when consumers communicate, and choice is there, and they start understanding that. Here's a couple brands that I'd like to highlight that are winning or have won in this market. You have your own. This is Dollar Shave Club. Right? A US brand, came out of nowhere, started doing digital marketing, content marketing, TV marketing, a totally, completely different media plan, direct to consumer. Gillette was asleep at the wheel building direct to store to consumer. So the store held that relationship. Dollar Shave Club said, forget store, we're gonna build a relationship with consumer, and Unilever's gonna buy us for $1 billion. Right? You've got a few here. Bombay Shave Company's going upstream to luxury market. Maybe they'll get bought for $1 billion. If you're in here, I wish you well. If you do, I'll take a point. But it's interesting to see that these guys come out of nowhere and take a chunk out of a behemoth like P&G and take market share from them in something that you would think no one's ever going to tap the razor market. The one in the middle, has anyone here bought a mattress online? Yes? You bought a mattress. Were there reasons? Was it local? Was it, I don't want to put you on the spot, but was there a particular, because there's lots of companies you can buy mattresses from now. Did you buy Casper or who'd you buy? Yeah? Right, so well, the mic was a little late. Nice try though. It was, so she bought it because it was easy, convenient, it showed up the next day. So she needed a mattress and was, bam, I need it tomorrow. So convenience, but also, I bet you would have paid a little bit more money if you knew someone could get it to you the next day, rather than a week. That's crazy. Like brick and mortar mattress companies, if you talked to them a couple years ago, they say, there's no way that I'm gonna have, everyone's gonna buy mattresses at stores because you wanna come and you wanna lay on it and you wanna test it out, right? That's changed now. Brick and mortars are getting, the struggle is people will go there, test it out, and then go online and buy it. And that's a real problem. Amazon takes advantage of that. There needs to be a solve for that because it's not fair. But it is a problem. But now you get a mattress, it rolls it up, 90 days, you get to sleep on it, you don't like it, they'll just send a car, they'll pick it back up, and you get a new mattress. What's the risk to the consumer? None. 27% of all mattress purchases are online. The reason I select mattresses is because you think that's a product that would never sell online. Cars, I bought a car a few weeks ago, sight unseen. My wife thought I was nuts online from a dealer. I asked I go, can you just look at it? Does it look fine? He's like, yep, looks great. I'm like, cool, I'll pick it up. I didn't realize it was a 8-hour drive to go get it. But it was the same kind of thing. I needed a car the next day. I know there's car people here and you're trying to go awareness, consideration, and then there's guys like me like, oh my God, I need a car tomorrow. Who does that? And then I just go online and I buy a car. How does marketing react to that and be ready for me to buy that car? In fact, I bought a car that I didn't even know existed in the UK until I saw one on the road the day before I was thinking about buying a car. How's that? That's a challenge for marketers, right? How do we solve that? On the right, I put this one up. That's Tata. They sold some homes, high luxury homes. There's a lot of Tata people here, right? Is that you? Yes. They sold homes online. Totally new concept. So things are happening, experience is happening. All things are possible online. Well, it's not just advertisers that are shifting. Publishers are shifting too. Publishers have to shift. We're a publisher. There's other publishers in the room. We got to change. It is about experience, right? There's a lot of things that are happening in our space. We have to diversify. The shift in media is real. And it's not about just experience with your consumers, but it's experience with you guys, advertisers. When you're an advertiser, look at that screen. You have lots of options. I mean, sorry content people, but anyone can create content. Lots of publishers can create, anyone can do programmatic. What differentiates publishers from others is experience. Not just experience, I mean, yes, you want results, but when all things are equal, you also want experience, you want relationships with teams, you want people that'll go the extra mile for you. That's important, right? You can buy it, you can set up a programmatic guarantee wherever, but you want someone who's gonna pick up the phone and answer and help you solve problems and find audience and do all the data and all those things. That's what you're looking for. So experience matters, not only that, customer service as well. Why is this all happening now? Why is this shift happening? I think 2019 is going to be a big year for digital. And maybe we stop calling it digital. Maybe we just start calling it marketing, right? I challenged an audience last time about what's a TV. I know it sounds like a really dumb question. What's a TV, right? We can agree a TV is a box that plays moving pictures with sound, right? Is that right? So if I watch Netflix at home, on my TV, am I watching TV or am I watching OTT? If I watch Netflix on my phone, which is also a box or a rectangular with moving pictures and sound, I'm watching on-demand video. But at home, it's OTT on a TV, but if I'm watching a cricket match or a football match, I'm watching TV. It doesn't make any sense, right? So why do we call it TV when we call it marketing and consumer messaging, and how do we get that experience? So why is this all happening now? People like this guy, P&G, Mark Pritchard, he runs a $2 billion marketing budget. Anyone in the room manage bigger than a $2 billion marketing budget? Okay, I thought so. I think it's the biggest in the world, right? And he's come out and said things like, half the money I spend on advertising wasted. Well, that's Wanamaker's famous quote, right? Half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. I just don't know which half. That's the old marketing adage. And he's determined to solve that. He wants to solve the other 50%. Everybody wants to solve that 50%. It's about efficiencies, it's about frequency. Another shift that's happening is Facebook. Facebook's a big player. Let's be frank about it, right? They're a great medium for us and for marketers to get to consumers. It's changed. Recently they've made changes. They've been under a lot of heat. They've made changes that reduce time spent on Facebook by 50 million hours per day. Per day. That's a lot. They've made those changes, right? They're eliminating options for publishers. They're eliminating advertising options. I think results are up for advertisers. I think your ROI is probably higher, but your scale is getting smaller. So when scale gets smaller, it's the same thing that's happened on Google search. ROIs are changing. Back in the old days of PPC, you'd want 6, 7, 8x ROI on your search marketing. Now you're lucky you get 3 or 4x. So your budgets, you got to think differently. But data, privacy, and experience is changing. Teens are leaving Facebook in drones, right? They're leaving, right? So how do we fix that? Oh, they're going to Instagram, which is also Facebook. But consumer mindsets are changing. Who else is changing? Vice, this is just an example. I mean, this is the CEO of Vice. What does this do? Well, it's bad. It means a lot less traffic and a lot less money. Companies like Vice and BuzzFeed and all that are one-trick platform, they rely on creating content, putting it on Facebook, distributing to audience. Facebook's made that really difficult for them. They've changed that game significantly. So what do we do as marketers? How do we think about this? It is about diversifying. It's about choice, about experience. As marketers, where we invest our dollars. This is also a problem. That's you guys. You guys are the problem. Digital marketers, experts, always trying to create new ways to come up with adding value. You're not really the problem, but we are all our own problem, right? We sometimes make things more complicated. I was in a room once with a CMO, and I said, what makes your life successful? What will make it when you go talk to your boss and you say, how is this a successful campaign? She said, I need X amount of people to watch my video. And then if I tell my boss that, the campaign's a success. I said, all right, cool. That's what we're going to do. That's the metric we're going to focus on, and we're going to make it happen. 2 weeks later, we got a call with the agency. We had about 40 KPIs. And then a week later, we had another call with a new agency that jumped on, digital agency that goes, oh, well, we want this, this, and this too. Are things like completion rate and all this stuff, like, that's not what she said. She wanted this many people to see her brand in that video, right? So we got to think about how do we simplify and make things easier to attribute success. I love the cliche. We talk about this cliche all the time, delivering the right message at the right time. Has anyone ever been at a conference that heard that phrase before? Deliver the right message at the right time. I'm getting tired of, we got to change our marketing buzz terms, right? I like this one. I just put that on because I think it's funny. Text and drive by a funeral home, right? Although I've seen how you guys drive, I think you can handle it. You could probably text and drive. You could probably cook some curry while you drive. You could do all sorts of things and still drive and somehow manage. This is they should get every race car driver should be recruited from India. It's amazing. But it's about visualizing your audience, but it's not just about knowing your audience. Old ABC1 demographics, I want males 35 to 40, I want CEOs, I want business decision makers, I want IT people, I want this, that. It's not about that anymore. The audience has changed, it's now fluid. We used to be able to target this kind of sector of normal. Normal is not normal anymore. Normal is adaptive. Adaptive is now bigger than normal. So now how do we, as marketers, figure out how to get normal? I'm a 45-year-old male. I'd say, some people say I'm an executive, no one would believe it, but I watch stupid shit on YouTube, right? I watch cat stuff and dog stuff, and I'm an idiot. And you would never target ads and think I was there. I'm there, right? We're all there, just different times, different moments. This is actually me and my family. So this is my daughter, annoyed that I'm videoing my wife's videoing. She's on Snapchat. She uses Snapchat regularly, just a text message. Marketers, you'll never get her. She's in private groups all the time. This is my son doing like Code Academy or something. He's doing his coding thing. You'll never get him. He hates ads. He blocks them, right? There's me watching TV. At this particular moment, you might not get me, especially if you're on digital and you're trying to target me on my iPad. You'll get me if you have a TV ad, but I'm probably watching Netflix or Amazon. So how do you as marketers understand this? Rather than saying, oh, we got IP address, we can do targeting, we'll do cross-platform targeting because we know when you're on your device and when you're on your desktop and when you're on your TV, and we're going to do a unified message. That's the wrong moment. That's the wrong time, and you're wasting your money because you're getting the wrong people, and you can't get down to that data level, right? Other cliches we do. What do we say? What do we do? This is what we say we do. Advertising agencies to clients, marketers to their boss. We say we engage, we connect, and we build relationships with consumers. That's what we should be doing, right? We should be engaging and connecting and building. That's our job, awareness, consideration. ComScore will tell you that awareness drives more intent than intent, like DR campaigns. Engagement drives more intent than a click. So why do we focus on the click? As marketers, we still focus on the click. That CMO I talked about, she wants engagement with her consumers. She wants to engage, get the brand in front of them, and consider her when their product is in front of that consumer. Great, and what does the agency do? They go, great, we want viewability, we want a certain click-through rate, we want clicks, completions, interactions, and we want a 2-minute dwell time, all with a 95% viewable completion rate. And we go, oh, well, how do we do that? That's not what they want, and that's not what your consumers want. But that's what agencies want, so we make our lives harder because we measure things that actually don't matter. Your brand is what people say you're doing when you're not in the room. All of this, if you get it, it relies to your brand. Your brand is more powerful now. The brand is back, right? There's some big brands in this room, you know that. So all that work you've done over the last 20 years, 30 years, that brand is more powerful because brands differentiate on PPC, brands differentiate on Facebook, brands differentiate in programmatic. If you don't have a brand because you've ignored that awareness top funnel and you've only focused on the bottom DR, you're paying more money for your ads and you're having a harder time converting because consumers still buy brands that they align with. But let's be honest, we're still trying to sell stuff, right? The whole purpose of this advertising is to sell stuff. So how do we find that balance of investing in brand, engagement, and awareness and sell stuff? That's the trick, but don't put metrics in a box. But don't worry, this is the kind of sort of the final, that's a trick final slide. But it's not all that bad. I'm not here to paint a grim picture. I hate when old people use like kids terms, but I did it. So, sorry. The woke consumer. The consumer being awakened to their data, their choices, their understanding. The last panel, it's democratized. So that changes everything for advertisers now. The consumer has choice. Power to the brand again. The brands are back. Agencies are under fire because they have to deliver value, not margin. If we keep focusing on margin, we're going to end up like some of your low-budget Indian Airlines. As soon as you raise price, you're done. If you're an agency and you're focused on margin, you're going to be fired. You're going to be renewed. When it comes up for repitch, just because you're price-led doesn't mean you have to add value to the brand. Yeah, you want to have a good price, but you have to add value to the overall picture. And these CMOs are looking at value over price. They will pay more for value. Premium environments win. So publishers, thank goodness, if you're working on a premium environment over all these years, it's back. Used to be AOL, walled garden, Yahoo, and then it went into Dakota, behavioral, and then ad.com, and then the world became, oh, it's about content and mobile, and now it's all of that, but you need to do that in a brand safe, trusted, transparent environment with a brand that you know. So publishers who've stuck true to that premium environment are going to do much better than publishers that nobody knows of because it's consumers engage more in premium environments. And last, human experience rules. Unique human experiences. Consumers demand it because they're numb on the internet. Things are changing. So just to give you a few examples of things we're doing to future-proof, I've got a car example here and a wasabi. Does anyone like wasabi? You guys like wasabi? Have you eaten real wasabi or just the green stuff? Who knows, right? We don't know. Chances are you've eaten fake wasabi. You've never had real wasabi. So we'll show you that. But this is an example. So VR, we love talking about VR and AI and blockchain. What does that really mean for us? VR is difficult. VR is hard for marketers to connect. The consumers, there's a small audience of consumers that use VR. Everyone knows it's cool. It's like autonomous driving. Sounds cool, nobody's doing it. Well, I guess no one will ever do it. But VR is a way to think. And I'm going to show you this as a thing we did for Volvo. It was a very hard execution. It was very difficult, but it was unique. And car launches are really hard. So creating an experience that's different, that's not just about, hey, check out our new car. It's about talking about things and adding it to an experience. So take a quick look at this again.
Countdown to total eclipse.
Total eclipse.
Total eclipse of the sun.
Millions of people descending upon the path of totality.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic for miles.
This year's solar eclipse just happened to coincide with the launch date for Volvo's new XC60 SUV. And rather than compete for attention, Volvo went for a slightly more Swedish approach and decided to use their cars to bring the eclipse to the entire world in high-resolution 4K virtual reality on any device, anywhere.
2, 1. Welcome to a CNN VR live broadcast.
Over the next 2 hours, we're taking you to the best spots in America to experience this event in immersive virtual reality.
I arrived here in a technologically advanced hybrid vehicle.
Glasses on.
Here it goes.
Holy cow!
There it is.
Oh my God.
As the moon's shadow flew across America, their global audience raced right along with it, with under a second of delay and 0 blackouts. The 2-hour program featured 7 moments of totality, punctuated with 360 animations, special guests, and 4 segments hosted by Eclipse experts, streamed from their new XC60s in remote locations. This live experience, along with 4 short films, print, outdoor, dealership activation, and social promotion, came together to become the most watched VR event in history, setting a new Guinness World Record. Instead of shouting for attention in the shadow of the moon, Volvo found a way to shine through.
Pretty cool, right? Like, to think about VR, I think that was a really good oh, thank you. Rich Jewell from our CNN team can talk at the break if you want to ask about how fun that execution was. Not really fun, but it was a really big undertaking. It all started in a whiteboard meeting going, we want to do something unique and something different. What can we do? That was a product we didn't even have or know how to deliver and just figured it out. So that's a lot about brands coming and saying, how do we create experience? Some of the things we've done is we've created a great big story. It's about experience and is about connecting closer to consumers. We work with ANA as an airline. How do we connect that Japanese experience? If you're selling an airline and you want people to get on your airline, do you sell low price, go to Expedia, go to Trivago, and go, or do you sell them wasabi? I choose wasabi.
あなたは本物のわさびを食べたことがありますか？残念ながらそれは本物のわさびではないんです。
90% of the time, the wasabi that you get in a restaurant or buy in a shop is fake. It's actually horseradish, colored green. And there's one big reason for that. Wasabi is a really difficult plant to grow, and that's for a number of reasons.
わさびがなるまでに1年3ヶ月と申しましたが、太陽の光がありすぎてもわさび育ちませんし、かといって何もないと育ちません。
わさび作りで一番大切なもの、必要なものは湧き水です。13度から18度ぐらいの範囲だと言われています。
わさびは水が全てです。水が命。
わさびを1回植えて悪くなるとします。でそのわさびはもう1年半収穫できないわけですので。
I'm gonna due to time. I want to keep going because I know everyone's probably hungry now. But you get the point. It's about experience. Watch that video when you get a chance, and now you'll be the annoying person like I am. Every time I go to Japanese food, I go, "That's not real wasabi," and then they go, "Yes, it is." I go, "No, it's not," and then we prove it's not. It's like balsamic vinegar too. It's never really real balsamic vinegar. So, you know, you become neurotic and your friends hate you and never invite you out anymore. But we know that people buy purchases on emotion, right? I think like 90%, 70% of all stats are made up, so this one could be borderline, but 90% of purchases are done by emotion. We make emotional purchases, right? Whatever that emotion might be. Your emotion to buy a mattress was need for speed. You needed it the next day, and you were panicking because you needed a mattress, maybe you had guests or your mattress broke. I don't know what happened, I don't want to ask, but you know, so we buy things on emotion, so why not create content like Great Big Story that creates a 92% positive emotional response? Because we get them in this state to think, man, I never thought about going to Japan. We're an awareness consideration. There's your first step. So what do we leave you with? How do we think about experience? When we think of Great Big Story, we think we want to be surprising. You want to create a unique experience? Be surprising. Do something that no one ever thought of before. That goes, wow, oh, you get that one moment and then you go, ah, that's how you differentiate. Be inspiring. Teach people something. Be emotional. There's a couple things you should do. A, teach them that you're not eating the real wasabi, or that a wasabi plant takes 1 year, 3 months to grow. Everybody loves little random facts so they can sound smarter in front of their friends. If you teach people stuff, you connect with them emotionally, that's how you win with content. And most importantly, measure what matters. Stop focusing on metrics that don't matter. Really deeply understand what you're trying to accomplish, what moments your consumers are in, how to succeed, and then find metrics that match that, as opposed to just saying, one size fits all, I want all of this, right? It's completion rates and stuff like that. Like, think about it. Completion rates are important in certain cases, depending on what you're trying to do. So really think about it, and as agencies work closer with your brands, brands work closer with your partners, everybody figure it out, because there's an optimal place. If it's 1 to 2 KPIs is where you should be, there's always gonna be ancillary KPIs, but think about measuring what matters. But hopefully I've left you with a few things that you found interesting. We'll be here, the CNN team will be hanging out just to talk. We love talking about this stuff. We've got our CNN experience out there for you to enjoy and just to see. There's an F1 thing, you can sit in a Formula 1 race car and get a little car sick and see what that's like. It's kind of cool. So if you haven't done that, I urge you to do that. But I really appreciate your time, and thanks for having us at this conference. Thank you very much.